Hello everybody, my name is Kanahus Pesky. I'm from the Secwepemc and the Chinaka Nations in the southern interior. So I'm like right around here. This is where my community is located in the Secwepemc territory near so-called Kamloops, BC. I'm here traveling around talking about the negative effects that the 2010 Winter Olympic Games has on our communities as well as the Indigenous community in downtown Eastside in Vancouver. So the main issue here is land. Like this says no Olympics on stolen native land. We use that just to explain to people so people get a better idea of where we're coming from. That in so-called British Columbia, we have never signed any treaties. We have never signed no type of agreement or anything with our land. We never ceded or surrendered our land in any way to the government. So our land remains ours and it's ours to protect. And so with the 2010 Winter Olympic Games coming to our territory, it challenges our authority and the jurisdiction that we have over our own territories, because Canada is still assuming control. They're trying to push control and occupy our lands. And the common everyday people that live in the cities, so-called Canadian citizens, are continuing to encroach and invade more of our territories. So this is what we, to explain to people where we are coming from as Indigenous people, that every person in this world has a homeland that they can trace their roots back to. But for us as Indigenous people, our homeland is here on these lands. Our land, Secwepemc Uluk and Chinaka Nation. Those are our homelands. And our homelands are being taken away from us with everything. The Olympics, the Sun Peak Ski Resort, mining corporations, water bottle extraction companies, all of these things, and they're all affecting our basic survival, because we depend on the land for our basic survival, our meat and our salmon, our roots, our berries, our medicines. Like all these traditional ways to live are our ways, Indigenous ways. So when corporations come in, and massive corporations like the International Olympic Committee, the official sponsors, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Royal Bank of Canada, they're all there to make money off of the Olympics. That's why they're the official sponsors. These big corporations and even small businesses are looking at the Olympics as a way to make money, but at the expense of the Indigenous people, their livelihood and their land and their freedom. So everyone has to think about that when massive sporting events come, like the Olympics. Everyone thinks, like traveling around, everyone was saying, oh, well, I always thought the Olympics was nations, like it was peace, and it was bringing all these nations from around the world together, for a sporting event and good fun and games and, peace and love and happiness and all these things. But that's not what it causes. Every place the Olympics goes, it's continuing a history of human and Indigenous rights violations, evicting people from their homes, pushing in and encroaching more on untouched areas, affecting our landscape permanently by building big infrastructures. And like right now what they're doing is blasting through mountains for the Sea to Sky Highway, the only access road into Whistler. So this one of our elders, Harriet Nahaney, she's a Pachidat elder, and she stood in the way of that expansion of that highway, and she was arrested. And some of you may already have heard of her. And she was arrested for blocking that highway development. And she was given 14-day sentence. And she was released after 11 days, but she contracted pneumonia while she was in there. So she was in critical condition at the hospital in Vancouver. And around 50 or so people, mostly Native people, went to the bottom of her hospital room to pray and sing songs for her. And some of her last words were like, never give up the fight for our land. And she passed away. She passed away a week and a half after she was released from jail. So these are the things that are happening. This was a wake-up call for all of our Indigenous brothers and sisters. If our grandparents, if our elders could stand up and risk their life, put their lives on the front line and for our land and our freedom, to wake our people up, that's what it took. And a lot of people in our communities woke up to that. So, we honor her when we stand and we fight against the Olympics and what it represents. It represents big money, and it represents the continuation of colonization in this world. Everywhere the Olympics goes, they're trying to legalize brothels, prostitution, and exploiting more Indigenous women. And in Athens, Greece, they brought in 40,000 prostitutes, street workers, for the tourists and people that invade that land for a big party, for a big party.